Hello, and welcome to the Joy of Painting Middle-earth. I'm Timbo Took, and I'm happy you've joined me. This is a time when we come together to paint the most fantastic landscapes Middle-earth has to offer. Now, I've just been preparing the canvas by putting some of that liquid clear down on the canvas. And you can see today we're going to paint another one with a black canvas. They're so much fun to do. Now, I've put this liquid clear down, just a light coat of it. You don't want to put too much, otherwise your paints will run right off the canvas. But we have a nice nighttime scene that we're going to paint today. So, let me put this down. Okay, there we go. And again, I'm painting inside the Hobbit hole today. So I just have to clean my brush down in the rubbish bin, and I can't beat the Sauron out of it like I do against the easel when I'm out in the field, but I do it right down there. Now, we're going to start today. As I said, we put this liquid clear down, and we're going to cover this also with some alizarin crimson. So you can see this is a very transparent red. Just put it onto our brush here, and we're just going to put this all over the canvas, so you can't see it much. You can't see it too much here, but it'll come out soon enough. So that's going to mix in with our liquid clear, and that makes the paint just run a little smoother over the canvas, so you don't have to use as much paint. There we go. And we're going to put it down here. Today we're painting the scene at Lake Town. Oh yes, you know Lake Town. Oh, the terrible fate that came upon them. They built their town out in the middle of the lake to keep safe from Smaug the dragon. But when the dwarves and Bilbo awoke him, his wrath was great, and he went and he set it ablaze. Oh, the poor people of Lake Town. They had helped the dwarves, and the dwarves, in return, really did nothing to help them. Not much they could do, though. However, we know the story of Bard, the great bowman, who was able to shoot down the great Smaug because of information that he got by second-hand way of Bilbo. So we just mix that alizarin crimson in there. So you can't see it all too well yet, but we'll bring it out soon enough. There we go. This is a pretty simple painting today. Clean off our brush. Okay, and now it's time. We're going to use some bright red. I'm using what's known as a quinacridone red. And I waited to put it on my palette because this, as you remember, is a very naughty red. It likes to run all over the place. So I put it on, and I have to be careful, otherwise I'll have it all over me. It'll be in my nose, in my hair, all over. So we put that on, and then we're going to come back up, and we're going to mix this right in. And this one's a little bit brighter, so you will see it just bring out some details here. So we come in. This is where our town is going to be, and it's of course over the lake. So we'll start here, and that's going to pick up some of the alizarin crimson that's underneath. And we just bring it, work our way out. Now there's a bit of a glare on here. I hope it's not too bad for you. Makes it very difficult for me, the way the light hits the canvas. I think it looks a little bit different for you at home. There we go. So we're just going to, each time we come back, the brightest area is going to be right here where Lake Town is. So we'll go right in there, and then we'll bring that down. Picked up a hair there right on the canvas. Just bring that down into our water here. This, of course, is where the reflection of all that will be. There we go. And we'll just bring that down and out. There we are. And those two reds that we've put on have mixed together. They've given us some different shades of the red in there. Now, we're going to brighten that up a little bit with some of our yellow. So, let's see. We'll try just coming in here, grabbing some yellow. It's going to be a little orange as we do this, because we have the red on the brush already. We're not trying to make it too bright, but we're going to come right back into our center. And with those crisscross strokes, just work our way out. And this fire is being picked up in the clouds. If you come back and get some more, come right back to that center. And just, there we go. And even bring it down into the water. Now this water is going to reflect it, and the brightest spot will be right there in the center, and then it works its way out. So you can see quite quickly we get a lot of things going on here. A lot of things going on. Now we'll come back and we'll get some yellow here. Just go straight in with a fan brush into our yellow there. Load it up, and now we're going to come in the center, again right where Lake Town will be. And we'll just bring it in and work our way out. There we go. Just with that fan brush. Pick it back up, bring it down into the water. So these are where the flames are. This is where everything's alight by that devilish Smaug. There we go. Just work it out. Out to the edges. And then we'll just bring this. This is our water, so we're just going to go side to side. Up here we have the crisscross patterns. Now, just clean off this brush. There we go. Now, with a clean, dry 2-inch brush, we're just going to come up here and we're just going to soften some of this. Because these are the clouds up here that are just picking up that fire, and you have smoke that's in there as well. Just soften that up. There we go. Now as we come down to the water, we're just going to pull it straight across. Straight across. So in the clouds you'll have kind of more rounded shapes. But in the water, the way that reflection works, it's just going to come straight back and forth. There we go. And you'll see how we move that paint around. There it is. We don't want to pick too much of it up. And you see it's going to be a little more dull in color when it's in the water like that. There we go. And we can pick up some highlights. There. So you see, just that simple. We've given this very, very compelling story that we're looking at. That's what we're doing. We're painting a story. Of course, you know the story. That's right. My grandgaffer Gamgee told me all the stories, and my grandpappy Took. So, this is a story, and oh, it was quite a triumph when they brought down the mighty Smaug. Okay, so one thing we do want to do now, way off in the distance, over there was the Lonely Mountain. So what we'll do is we'll come in here and we're just going to go into our titanium white, and we're just going to give some of the clouds back here that are just starting to pick up some of that highlight. These are further away. So we've just given, you have some moonlight, and you can see on the side where the fire is, it's going to pick up more of those highlights. So now that we have that in there, just come back with our clean 2-inch brush, and we're just going to soften that out. Oh, I didn't get him clean enough. He started to pick up some of our paint. We don't want that, but we do want to soften this out. This is off in the distance, off back there. And then what's happening is we have the Lonely Mountain back there, and it's just being silhouetted. So we're not going to do a lot of details, but I'm going to come just with my 1-inch brush, because it hasn't been used yet, was a little more dry. There we go. Now, we're going to stick in the mountain back there. So we're going to use some ivory black and just come into some of our burnt umber. So it's going to be a very dark color, not solid black. We put some brown in there just so there's a little bit more going on. Now, we're going to take it and we're just going to make our Lonely Mountain sticking up. This is back way off in the distance where Smaug came from. And we'll just leave that back there. Just to stand out. Just to stand out. Now, we can even come back to our fan brush, go into some of that white we had on there, and we'll just put some mist at the base of that mountain. There we go. Off in the distance. Now, one thing we do want to do is before we start building Lake Town, we want to come in and we are going to just scrape out some roof shapes here. So Lake Town, as you remember, we'll just scrape off some of this paint here. Built right out in the middle of the lake where they thought they might be safe from old Smaug. Pull some of that paint off. That way we're not mixing right into it. And then let's go with the shorter side, using this shorter side of the knife. We're just going to scrape out where some roofs, where the town is. Maybe there's a tower here. Now our roofs and things will be picking up some of the light. Some of them will be on fire themselves. There we go. Now we're going to go back into that same color we made up for the mountain. And we're just going to, this is silhouetted because the fire is raging. And you have all these buildings back here. There we go. The town is built up on stilts right out of the water. Many of the people of Lake Town dove into the water to get away from the flames. And let me tell you, that was cold. That was Durin's Day. One of the last cold days of fall before the winter. There we go. There's all these roofs, all these buildings. Watchtower there. There we go. There you see. Put another little roof here. And now this will create a shadow on the water as well. And what we'll do is we'll give that some reflection. We'll just take the fan brush. Let's just take our 2-inch brush. And bring it straight down. Knock some of that paint off. And then just pull it to the side. There we go. And we'll even put some buildings and things back there in the distance. Oh, those poor people of Lake Town. Now, we'll come back. And we have to have that evil dragon in there. So, we'll just come. This is just one of our small flat brushes. And the beast is right above the town, flapping its wings. There we go. That great beast there. And he's got a long tail. So, what did I do with my script liner brush? This one might work. There we go. And he has this tail that comes down. There we are. And this great beast is firing off onto the town. The great breath of fire. Oh, what a villain he is. Oh, what a villain, as my Grand Gaffer Gamgee would say. He'd say, he was a villain, Timbo. There we go. Breathing out his fire. Destroying things. Then we're going to just come back to our yellow. And we're just going to highlight some of this. Just so you can see those fires raging in the town. There we go. And you have all those colors in there already. So as you just dab it on, it picks up those colors underneath and mixes right on the canvas. That's what's beautiful about the wet on wet technique, is that it really helps you mix those colors right here as you paint. Oh, those poor people. There we go, just dab that on. And you can even put some on the buildings as well. No wonder everybody turned on the dwarves. And you can spend all afternoon if you want, just putting as much fire and detail and things into the town. But what we're going to do now is we'll come down in here and we'll add some of those yellows right in to our shadow on the water, our reflection on the water. Now that we have those, just pull them straight down. There we go. Using the 1-inch brush here, and I'm pulling that reflection straight down. There we go. And then we'll come back and just soften that up. There we go. That gives us a nice reflection. Well, if a reflection could be nice of that kind of destruction. I just mean in the painting sense, capturing it. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to bring some of that, there's kind of a gap there. And we want our clouds that are capturing this fire. We want to just mix them in. So I just grabbed that 1-inch brush I was already using. Just going back up, kind of making another orange color. And we just mix that in over there. Oh, what a mess. What a mess things were that night. Oh, and poor Mr. Bilbo, he was trying to contend with Thorin Oakenshield now that the gold sickness had taken him. All right, I'm going to come back, and we have our dragon up there. So let's, of course, not forget to put his reflection down in the water. And we don't have to be as detailed with that, because again, we'll go back. Again, we'll go back and soften that up, but for the time being, there is a bit of a reflection there. Come back to our 1-inch brush. Wherever I put it, there it is. It was hiding from me. Oh, okay. And then again, this we're just coming. Oh, that might have been a little bright there. Might have had a little too much yellow, but just come, soften it out. No big deal. And then just bring that reflection down again. Oh, there you can see. That turns out. Now let's give ourselves there's some land over here. Nothing too big. It is just the shoreline. But just so it doesn't appear as though everything's just floating out in space. There we go. Now, normally we highlight that shoreline. We would just highlight the shoreline with some white. However, seeing how our night is the way it is, we'll come back and we'll make this a little bit lighter yellow. Just mixing some titanium white in with our yellow. There we go. Just cut that off. And we're just gonna give this a shoreline here. Just cut that in. There we go. And it'll pick up some colors. highlights that beach over there. There we go. And we'll do the same. Give some separation. Just cut that across. Right at the bottom of Lake Town. There we go, just kind of with a back and forth motion. There we go. Now it doesn't look like it's just floating out in space. We give it that little bit of land at the bottom. Or in their case, that's where the pilings that they built up the water would be hitting over there. Now, let us do one more thing. One more thing here, because we want to at least give some perspective of where we're watching this all take place. That's right. We're in this story, and we're sitting over on this side of the shore, and we're watching the events take place and unfold, and unfortunately there's nothing we can do about it. Oh, it's a helpless feeling. So, we shall just put in some land here. Comes right out here. There we go. This is the shore that we're standing on. And we'll do the same thing. We'll give that shore just a little shoreline so you know it's there. There we go. There we go. And we'll pick some up and we'll just give it back some indication back here. Of course, they're out in the middle of the lake. And as I said, one last thing. We're going to put a big tree here. That's right, and that's very dark. And this is late in the fall. The last day of fall, really. So this tree won't have any leaves. I don't think I'm going to use my 1-inch. I think I'm going to go back to my fan brush. We'll just grab it here. And this tree just comes down. There we go. He's just gonna sneak right past. Right there. Right down here. It's hard to see because it's dark. And we're just getting the silhouette of the tree. But there will be some highlight to him. Don't worry. Don't you worry. There we go. And he has a few branches out here. He just comes deep onto the bank here. Now let's go back and find our script liner brush. Clean this off. And we're just going to give them some small branches here. These things will be on there that just pick up the light. There we go. There we are. And these are hard to see, difficult to see just because it is in the dark of night. But now let's give a little bit of highlight here. Clean this off. The edges of the tree will catch some of that light. So we're just going to go up into our orange and red. And the side that picks up the light will just be highlighted. Maybe. There we go. Clean him off there. There we go. Just picking up that light. Of course, we're not doing it from this side because all that light is shooting out this way. Shooting out this way. Just highlighting that undertone. There we go. And let's catch up. Let's pick up some on this other branch over here. And let's give this little darker tones over here. There we go. And we'll come on down at the trunk of our tree. Now, there is some grass on this side that we're on, and that grass would not show green on a night like this, that grass would pick up those tones that are in that fire as well. So we just want to go from one color to the next and just kind of load a menagerie onto our brush, and then it's just picking up those tones from the fire. There we go. Okay, and we'll come and do the same on this side. There we go. And then even the side of the mountain would be picking up some of that color as well. Okay, I think that's where we're going to call this one a finished painting today. I'm happy you've joined me. I encourage you to pick up your paints and your brushes and paint right along with me. Or if you want, just turn it on, take a nap, and when you wake up, I'll have a painting all done for you. All right, be sure to join me next time. Goodbye and God bless. Thank you for joining me on today's painting. I'm so happy you were with me. Now, if you'd like to continue to go on painting adventures with me, become part of my fellowship. And you do that by clicking that subscribe button below. Yes, and be sure to give it a like and a share. That would be oh so helpful. Now, we don't know how many of these seeing stones are unaccounted for. So we don't know who else is watching. I've got to go. Have a good day.